Hello, Saturnians. So this is going to be a quick VR to Down Michelle from Boho Tarot. And she created this tag that is really cool. I think she was thinking about fall season when she created this tag, and it's actually spring for me because I am in the southern hemisphere. But I still wanted to jump in because the prompts are really cool. Okay, so let's get started. So the first prompt is to show a deck that feels like coming home. And I chose the Star Child Tarot. This deck represents my home beyond time and space. This represents the place where the unborn and uncreated aspect of my consciousness comes from. So these cards feel like pictures from a lost planet in a distant galaxy. It feels like a different dimension to me. The source home, you see, the place one goes back to in between several existences. I love this so much. Also love the colors in this deck. These purples are beautiful. So this is a deck that I use when I'm feeling overwhelmed by mundane existence, by daily routine, when I feel trapped in this 3D dimension, because somehow these cards remind me that there are other worlds out there. There are other life forms out there. There are other dimensions to explore, you see? And this brings me comfort. So, this is the sensation of coming back home. So, yeah, this is the Star Child. But I also want to show you another deck because while the Star Child is my metaphysical home, the Afro-Brazilian tarot deck is my literal home because in this lifetime, this consciousness chose to be born here in Brazil. So these cards represent my people, the culture in which I was born and raised, and this feels so familiar to me. Each of the major arcana is represented by one orisha of the candomblé tradition. So this is really familiar to me, and most definitely I feel like this deck is home to me. Literally, right? So the cards are just full of energy. The magician in this deck is my favorite card. I also love the Hierophant dancing in deep trance. So yeah, I have many videos talking about this deck. So I'm gonna leave the link down below in the description box if you want to check this out. So the next prompt is to show a deck that represents family and friends. And I have quite a few decks that I could show to represent them, but I chose the Tarot of Crowley because in the home where I grew up, everybody was into the occult. My mother and my aunt and uncle were Rosicrucians and they read books about witchcraft, about magic, theosophy, and the occult, tarot, astrology, and I feel that Crowley and the people in these cards could have been a family member or a family friend. There were many astrologers and tarot readers in my mother's circle of friends growing up, and yeah, these are my friends too nowadays. Look, Madame Blavatsky and Pixie in the same card. It's just fantastic. So, yeah, I feel that any of these people in these cards could have been someone I know. And I'm pretty sure that in the future, some of the people I know now will be in tarot decks also. Alright, so yeah, the next prompt is to show a deck that lights your way through the dark. And for me, that's a no-brainer. That's the Buddha Tarot. And you guys must be tired of seeing this deck on my channel because I have mentioned multiple times how this deck is so meaningful to me. So, at some point in life, I studied a lot of Buddhist philosophy at university. And when things get too dark, when things get heavy, when things get difficult, this is the knowledge that I go back to. There is so much in Buddhist philosophy that helps me stay grounded and come back to my center every time that my mind is spiraling out of control. So, yeah, this is a deck that I use when I need this kind of guidance, when I need to be reminded of the things I know, you see? The next prompt is to show a deck that you want to curl up with in a rainy day. And for me, that's the Mini Fairy Tarot. And this deck is a spring deck to me, but it actually rains during spring here in my little corner of the universe. So this is the perfect deck to consult when it's rainy and when I want that cozy sensation, because this deck is very soft, very gentle. Look at these cute, adorable creatures. But even though it's so sweet and soft and cute, it is also very accurate. It is so accurate that I use this as my clarification deck. So, yeah, this is adorable and I love this deck so much. That's the Mini Fairy Tarot. Okay, so the next prompt is show us a deck that evokes harvest vibes or bonfire nights. And for me, that's the only oracle deck that I have. It's the Seasons of the Witch. Now, I have maybe 60 tarot decks and only one oracle deck. That's this one. I never really connected with oracles. I find oracles very unstructured. So I use this to close a tarot reading. And I've been pairing this one with both the Green Witch and the Everyday Witch Tarot, and it works beautifully. So, yeah, I love this. I mean, it gives me very profound insights. Even though I cannot use these cards in a spread, it doesn't work in a spread. It's like I get one card and it tells me what I need to know. Alright, so next is the deck that feels like a homespun gift. And for me, that's the Forest of Enchantment. I just received this deck as a gift. Manuela over at Place of Stillness sent me this deck. She edged it in blue, so it has this feeling. She actually also sent me this handmade bag to go with the deck. So yeah, this is the perfect deck to represent a homespun gift. It feels to me like a box full of homemade cookies. So I like taking this deck outside with me. And I recently went on a hike and I took this deck with me and I sat under a beautiful tree with my cards. And the birds were singing and I had such an awesome experience with this deck. So, yeah, this is lovely. There is one thing I dislike about this deck is that the sword suit is called challenges. And I don't see swords cards necessarily as challenges. So that's the one thing I don't like. Other than that, it's an awesome deck and I love it. Okay, I also have to include my Mythologia Fenica Tarot. This was a gift. Also, Honey over at Fierce and Pretty sent me this deck last year. And ever since I started working with this deck, it has become one of my favorites. And this also works as a homespun gift to me because, she gave this to me to show me something from her country. This deck is based on Finnish mythology, and the book that comes with it is so amazing. So in the process of learning how to use this deck, I also learned a lot about Finnish mythology. So this feels like those gifts that people bring to you if they are from another country and they come to your house. Here in Brazil, we do that too, you know. When I travel abroad and I'm going to somebody's house, I always take a little something from Brazil. Maybe something to eat or, you know, just a little gift. And this deck feels like a gift from Finland to me. So I love it so much. I have a full walkthrough of this deck. If you want to see all the cards, link will be down below in the description box. Okay, so next is a deck that helps you appreciate good times. And for me, that's the Groovy Tarot. This deck is so joyful, fun, colorful, bright and bold. And yeah, this is how I feel most of the time. And this deck reminds me of the truth hidden in joyful moments. Oh, I love this card. That's the Six of Cups and yeah, mushrooms. I love mushrooms. So yeah. So I adore this deck. This deck is very playful, but it's also very, very powerful. Very powerful. It gives me like very euphoric readings, if that makes any sense. And it has a place in my heart and in my collection for several reasons. And I think some of you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, the Groovy Tarot by Tarot Collectibles. Okay, next is the deck that is always there for you, and I think everybody knows the answer. If you've been watching my channel for, you know, more than a couple of months, you know that is the answer for this prompt. And this is the deck that I learned tarot with. It's the first system that I ever learned. For a number of years, I only had this one deck. And this deck went with me everywhere in the world. So I have a special connection with it. This is the system that is more familiar to me and the system that makes more sense to me. So Thought deck is my go-to deck for everything, right? And after I started collecting decks, a few things changed. Like this deck is not my favorite when it comes to artwork, but it remains my favorite deck because of the system. So yeah, these were my answers. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you also made a video about this tag so that I can go and watch it. And please like and subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Alright, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.